Imagine waking up to disaster, an entire village in Sudan wiped away overnight by a landslide. The world you knew, the homes you built, the people you loved, gone in a matter of moments. This is the unimaginable reality that struck the heart of Darfur, leaving behind devastation, heartbreak, and a desperate struggle for survival. On August 31st, in the Jebel Mara mountains of Darfur, relentless rainfall triggered a catastrophic landslide. For days, the skies had opened up, pouring torrents of rain onto the already fragile slopes. The ground, saturated and unstable, could no longer hold. In the dead of night, the earth gave way, sending a wall of mud, rocks, and debris hurtling down the mountainside. The force was unstoppable, swallowing everything in its path. In just seconds, a remote village was buried. Over 1,000 people feared dead, with hundreds still missing. Families were torn apart as homes were crushed beneath the weight of the landslide. The cries for help were muffled by the mud and debris, and the silence that followed was haunting. Emergency responders rushed to the scene, but the scale of destruction was overwhelming. Entire neighborhoods vanished, leaving only traces of what once was a vibrant community. For many, this mountain was a last refuge, a place to escape Sudan's brutal civil war and famine. Families who had already lost everything to violence and hunger sought safety in these remote highlands, hoping to rebuild their lives far from the chaos below. The mountains, once seen as a sanctuary, became the site of yet another tragedy. The sense of security was shattered in an instant, replaced by fear and uncertainty. But nature's force was merciless. The landslide swept away not just homes, but hopes and dreams. The power of the mudslide was so great that even the strongest structures crumbled. Survivors described the sound as a thunderous roar, followed by darkness and chaos. In the aftermath, the landscape was unrecognizable. Where there were once fields and houses, now only mud and ruin remain. Most victims were already displaced by conflict, making this disaster even more heartbreaking. These were people who had endured years of hardship, forced from their homes by war, only to face another unimaginable loss. The grief is compounded by exhaustion and trauma as families mourn loved ones and search desperately for survivors. The emotional toll is immense, with many left wondering how much more they can endure. Survivors are in shock, families torn apart, homes gone. The search for missing relatives continues, with many clinging to hope despite the odds. Children wander through the wreckage looking for familiar faces. The community, once close-knit, is now scattered and broken. The psychological scars will last long after the mud is cleared away. Rescue teams and aid organizations like the UN and Red Cross are trying to reach survivors, but blocked roads and ongoing fighting make it almost impossible. The region's infrastructure, already weakened by years of conflict, has been further damaged by the landslide. Roads are impassable, bridges washed away, and communication lines cut. Humanitarian convoys are forced to turn back, unable to deliver desperately needed food, water, and medical supplies. Every hour that passes puts more lives at risk. The roots of this disaster run deeper than the rain. Experts warn that deforestation, land degradation, and climate change made this tragedy worse. Years of unchecked tree cutting and overgrazing have left the hillsides bare and vulnerable. Without the stabilizing roots of trees, the soil erodes quickly, making landslides more likely. Climate change has brought more intense and unpredictable weather, turning what might have been a heavy rain into a deadly catastrophe. The environment in Darfur is under immense pressure. As the population grows and resources become scarcer, people are forced to clear more land for farming and firewood. This cycle of environmental destruction and human need creates a dangerous situation where natural disasters become more frequent and more deadly. The landslide is not just a result of one storm, but of years of environmental neglect and global climate shifts. And with the civil war still raging, Sudan faces one of the world's worst humanitarian crises right now. The conflict has displaced millions, destroyed infrastructure, and left communities vulnerable to both violence and natural disasters. Aid agencies warn that the situation is deteriorating rapidly, with food shortages, disease outbreaks, and now the added burden of disaster recovery. The people of Darfur are caught in a perfect storm of war, hunger, and environmental collapse. The international community is pledging help, but every minute counts. Relief supplies are being flown in, and emergency funds are being raised, but the needs are immense. Coordinating aid in a conflict zone is a monumental challenge, and delays can mean the difference between life and death. The world is watching, but action must be swift and sustained to prevent further tragedy. This landslide is a stark reminder of how quickly life can change and how urgent it is to support those in need. It shows us the fragility of safety, the unpredictability of nature, and the importance of global solidarity. As we witness the suffering in Darfur, we are called to act, not just with words, but with meaningful support for those who have lost everything. If you'd like to help, check the links in the description for ways to support trusted relief efforts. Every donation, no matter how small, can make a difference, providing food, shelter, and hope to families in desperate need. Your support can help rebuild lives and restore dignity to those who have suffered so much. Stay informed, subscribe for more updates, and keep the people of Darfur in your thoughts. Their story is not just one of tragedy, but of resilience and hope in the face of overwhelming odds. Together we can shine a light on their struggle and help pave the way for a better future.